friends to a podcast that's been described as
emotional
and
terrifying.
one guy even said it was
So awesome it will shock you to the core.
finally another podcast about Godzilla and all his giant monster friends.
This could be the end of civilization.
Yeah, probably. So join your hosts, Cass and Slick.
Ladies and gentlemen,
You're listening to the podcast from Odo Island. Welcome to the podcast from Odo Island. Follow us on Twitter at Odo Island Pod. I'm Kess, and with me as always is the cult of meat and extra cheese. Slick, how are you?
They get better every week.
Yeah. Like Mussolini. Yeah, so I was throwing a wrestling reference because we're going to have a lot of those this week. Main topic we'll get to. However, first we got to talk about something else.
Yes. Godzilla Destruction, leaving the mobile stores.
I was thinking something else, but yeah.
That's
right.
right.
No,
right.
let's talk.
I
you're
get
right.
that shell. Yeah. I mean, so, there was 3 Godzilla games that were mobile games that released this year. And I feel like Godzilla Destruction was actually poised to be the crown jewel of the 3 mobile games. It was Godzilla Run, which I don't know if that even still exists because that thing was fucking bizarre. I don't even know what to say. We could do an entire topic on Godzilla Run someday. Weird, like Godzilla and other kaiju, like game where you raise a kaiju with a lot of religious overtones and then you race them.
Yes.
Very strange. But anyway, I feel like Godzilla Destruction was poised to be the crown jewel and ended up just being the bridesmaid, not the bride, because Godzilla Battle Line ended up being the hit in a game I still play every day to this day. I was 1400 in the leaderboards this past season, which was exciting.
I don't know what that means.
1400 out of, like, I don't know. There's probably like
Oh,
on the leaderboards. Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I got you now.
Yeah.
That's good. It's not as good as like 57th on the Undertaker challenge in 2K14.
Oh, no, I guess it's not as good as that accomplishment. But yeah, before we get into Rampage, I have to make a little addendum to our Zone Fighter episodes. We missed one. Totally on me. And
I wouldn't say I missed it, but go ahead.
Did you watch this episode after I put it? Okay. So we missed
Busy doing anything else.
So we missed the 4th episode, which comes before the King Ghidorah episodes that we watched, and it's the first appearance of Godzilla. And it's called Invasion Giant Hiroga Army Enter Godzilla. So Godzilla's right in the title, and I somehow missed it. So I don't know what that says about me. But I watched it. I was like, this was actually the best episode of all the ones we watched.
God damn it!
That's what I said in our group chat. And I said, this is what I actually like the best. So I mean, you can go back and watch it. It's the story is kind of whatever. It's like the Zone family like encounters this dude who's from Peaceland, but turns out he's actually been like corrupted by the aliens.
And now he's from Warland.
Yeah, no, he's from Warland. Yeah, but like either way, like the point is like, there are 2 giant monsters that Zone Fighter fights in this episode. He squares off against one of them like pretty early on in the episode, gets his shoulder kind of messed up, and then when he fights that monster again, this is the episode where Zone Fighter has the power to jump through a TV screen. And because the monster's attacking Tokyo, and he's like watching it like at his apartment or his house, and he's like, oh, well, I bet it's like Zone Fighter jump thing. And he jumps to the TV screen, just ends up in Tokyo. How convenient. But anyway.
Those power of those CRTs, you know?
Yeah. Retro gaming monitors?
Yeah.
I mean? Yeah. So, that kaiju continues to work the shoulder. Another kaiju ultimately shows up. And then they just go, hey, do you remember that we have the power to summon Godzilla? And the Zone, like, little kid goes, we do? He's like, yeah. We just throw that GoBot thing, or Zone Bot, or whatever they called it. It summons Godzilla, and Godzilla just appears. Oh, they call him a monster of justice. So
right.
he gets the
Question:
nickname.
Is this the real Godzilla, or is this a summon of Godzilla? Like Final Fantasy style.
No, real Godzilla. He's just,
Alright.
he must have just been hanging around in the
Gotcha.
neighborhood, fortunately. So yeah, he like shows up and it's like Godzilla like rips like the spine off of like one of the kaiju's backs and then like just kind of throws them around and stuff. And then they didn't like animate his like beam. Instead it's just like almost looks like a fire extinguisher, just like a really steady stream of smoke like coming out, but he like burns one of the kaiju alive with it and basically melts it. It was actually pretty gruesome and awesome.
All right.
But the episode like has like a lot of like actual like city destruction scenes going on, and I was like, did they blow the entire budget for the series like on this episode? Because there's like military fighting the kaiju, like they're attacking like an actual city. They fight in the city. They don't fight like in the countryside. Because I remember like the next episodes of the Ghidorah ones, and it's like
All countryside.
yeah, they're fighting like in a dirt parking lot or something, and I was like, huh. So on me, I missed that one, but I'm still only going to give it 3 stars because still Ultraman, it is not.
Okay.
So
I'm also giving it 3 stars. So very legitimate ranking from me. Yeah, I'll go back and watch it eventually.
3 stars will hold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I gave one 4 stars though, just because I was like, all right. This was
Oh,
cool.
so maybe I would actually, maybe in our next episode you can come back and say where you did really end up with it, because I actually wonder if you would give it 4 stars.
Probably not.
3 stars it is.
I'm feeling less generous. It is the season. Yeah, so we missed the Zone Fighter episode, and Godzilla Destruction going the way of the dodo.
Yep.
Au
Godzilla
revoir.
Battle Line's still going strong though.
Yep, Godzilla Battle Lines is the game. I'd rather have a console game,
Same. Yep.
but
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
So shall we get to it then?
Yes.
All right. So this week, obviously, if you can read English, it's Rampage we're covering, starring QT Marshall.
Yes. Starring famous wrestler QT Marshall.
Starring The Rock, and Rock, 7-time WWE champion, 8-time WWE champion.
8-time. Well, I have that right here for you. He is an 8-time WWE champion, a 2-time WCW champion.
Technically.
Technically.
It was the invasion. It
Yes.
wasn't the real WCW. Bischoff didn't put the strap on him.
2-time Intercontinental champion, 5-time WWF Tag Team champion, 2000 Royal Rumble winner, 9-time Slammy Award winner. He was also a 2-time USWA Tag Team champion with Brett Sawyer. But he had 2, according to PWI. PWI? Yeah, I think it was PWI. Well, whatever. He had 2 match of the years, according to PWI.
Would it be Hogan and Austin?
Nah, Hogan, yes. The other one, no. I'll give you one more guess.
Must have been Triple H then.
It's the I Quit match with Mankind.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Other background, because I said off mic, I was like, I don't know. Feels weird to do deep dive research background on like a movie that just came out like 3 years ago from like a big Hollywood studio and stuff. But although I will note there was a original script to this movie that was actually more faithful to the video games, and instead they said, yeah, let's go with something that's more like Jurassic Park. So I thought other background that'd be interesting is the Rock's diet. When the Rock is preparing for a movie, depending on the role, he has 2 different diets. One is 5 meals a day, the other is 7 meals a day. He ingests 4,127 calories a day while prepping for a movie. And, a lot of these meals, there's just a ton of egg whites, ton of meat,
Yeah.
lots of steak. But the corner piece of his 5 to 7 meal diets, on average, involves 36 ounces of cod a day.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
I like cod.
I like cod. I don't know if I like 36 ounces of cod a day.
It's a lot of, because you got to figure like a normal slice of like a fillet of cod, you'd probably get like 12 at the most.
At the most, yeah, probably. Yeah.
That's 36.
That's a lot. Plus, there's a lot of cups of rice, a lot of steak.
Plus, yes, train.
He has to. What's the name of the company in this movie? Wine.
Energen.
Energen. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He's gonna He's got to get his loot crate from them every month.
I don't know if that's the name of the company now. I watched it over the weekend when I had an abundance of time. So the name kind of eludes me. But yeah, here's something else you should know about The Rock. He has held the Big Eagle, the Big Gold, the Spinner, and the Scratch Logo WWE Championship belts.
Yes.
Also, he retired the original Classic IC belt, the Reggie Parks IC, RIP Reggie Parks.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So he got he was the last one to hold that belt, and on the black strap, and it became the purple strap oval belt that Dan has.
Oh yeah. Okay. There you go. I guess if we're getting to the movie, we'd be remiss if we just
I also saw The Rock and Mankind win the tag titles at a Raw once. And I saw him win the WWE title once.
So I can't win against that. So
I saw him lose it too.
So this is based on a video game, an arcade game.
It is?
Later a Nintendo game. Well, pretty much every other system on the planet.
Yeah, it started arcade though.
Yeah.
And yeah, you got 3 characters: George the Ape, Ralph the Wolf, and Lizzy the Lizard.
Except in the Nintendo game, you only get George and Lizzy.
Yeah, you didn't get Ralph for some reason. They omitted him.
Although, not to, random sidetrack, I have that mini arcade of Rampage, they sell in Target or Walmart or whatever, for a little novelty gift that's whatever, $15-$20, and it's sits in the corner of your desk.
Yeah.
And that's just the NES game, but they added Ralph into that.
Yeah, and I was
Really
thinking they must have taken the assets from the the Master System game.
No,
It's just all new.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, because the Master System one looks a lot different than the NES one.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's
I'm not talking about the backgrounds, just the wolf. The wolf is completely different.
it's drawn completely differently.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I don't know, that's cool. I feel like that's the only one of those worth having just because of that. Little collectors.
The Contra one's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, they're just all so hard to play because they're so small.
Yeah, I getcha. I actually have an arcade stick of Steel Cage Challenge.
Oh God.
Yeah. It's actually pretty fun.
Do you like Rampage, the video game?
I love it.
Yeah, same. Very repetitive. But...
It's repetitive. It's one of the early arcade games. So that was the whole thing. You just get one screen or one board, and you destroy all the buildings, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you do it for the Nintendo one has an ending, or has you beat the game. I shouldn't say it has an ending, because one day when I was a kid, I was like, I'm going to beat this entire game to see what happens. And this is before I knew that video games could let you down with their endings, because after you win, it just is game over. That's it. There's nothing. But did you play the Wii or GameCube or
the last
later
ones
games
I played were the N64 ones, like Rampage World Tour.
Yeah. They're all kind of derivative of that.
Yeah.
Although I guess one of them that's on the Wii and GameCube and stuff has 40 playable characters in it, and they're all just kind of classic kaiju designs and stuff. And I was more B movie, I should say, not so much like Japanese kaiju. And I was like, oh, maybe we should check that out.
Yeah, I've never tried it.
Yeah, I mean, those later games were all fine. They all seemed the same thing. It was kind of repetitive, but a little bit more variety than obviously the Nintendo one. But still, it's the same thing. You're just smashing buildings over and over again to clear the levels. So.
I put the arcade on my Raspberry Pi, so I could play it on there.
Oh, to back up your arcade cabinet that's downstairs.
I don't have an arcade cabinet.
Never mind. Guess you missed that one.
I keep my arcade cabinet of this game in my office.
There you go. Yes, there you go.
You know that.
Yeah.
my evil bad guy office.
Where
I draw up my bad guy plans.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, whatever. We'll go out of order. The bad guys have the Rampage arcade cabinet in the office, in the background, for no reason. So
this movie exists in a world where Rampage, the arcade game, exists. And they had the giant ape, wolf, and not lizard, but alligator. And nobody was calling it live action Rampage. Unlike the news reports or anything like that. And no references to it at all, other than the arcade in the background is a little Easter egg, ha ha ha, see? We know the history, see?
It's a super on the nose, like normally like stuff like that's like fairly obscured in the background of stuff. Like
the Rampage game and QT Marshall got the same exact treatment in this movie.
yeah, it's like they have the arcade cabinet in their office, like where they also like have like all these like weird like samurai helmets, and like it looks like what I'm gonna guess they're supposed to be other extremely rare and priceless. I don't know,
Artifacts.
Yeah, artifacts. Yeah, and it's like then there's like a Rampage arcade cabinet.
All right, so get this: Silk Spectre and her brother are in that office, like they're like hatching their evil plans and schemes, and then they take like a quick 15-minute break, and they're going over to the arcade machine and like pumping in some quarters.
Maybe maybe all of this like genetic editing they're doing, not genetic engineering, genetic editing, which I don't know if that made a ton of sense to me when they try to explain it, but that's all right. Like maybe
they're not engineers; they're producers.
Well, there you go. Maybe this is all like a multifaceted plan to actually just really release the arcade game. Maybe that cabinet is like their actual end product, and that's the prototype they have in there. And they're trying to get all this footage of like George and Lizzy and Ralph to go, yes, we need to put those in the video game. Yes, we need them out in the real world to see how this video game would work.
Oh, okay. So it's like open market testing.
Exactly.
Yeah, gotcha.
Exactly. This is the beta testing. This is the was spreading this pathogen around.
Gotcha. That's what GTA did.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell us what's wrong with this game after we release it.
Yeah. So, see, I think ultimately they are just video game developers, and the mutations are part of the research.
So yeah, and the reason they needed that girl's father's disease was just like a catalyst to get the arcade going. Like they stole her research. And developed this strictly for the arcade.
It was yeah. So it's Dr. Caldwell, right? She's like the other good guy with the rock. Like, wait, is that what it was? It was her father. Her father had a disease, and she was like working on a
father, brother, whatever.
A brother, yeah. But it's like that was a little confusing to me because it was like they just said, "Oh, the company." She blamed the company for like her brother's death, but it was like unclear to me what the link was between that and like the mutation thing that she was like developing.
Well, she was like every time she would like get close, they'd just steal her research, and it's pretty flimsy.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, okay. So like walking through this movie, it's like disaster in space, which I forgot all about the first time I saw this movie. This is the second time I've ever seen this movie.
You got evil Splinter running loose on a spaceship.
I assume that was there's the Atari Lynx version. Had
Lynx,
sorry, not Linux. Atari Lynx version of Rampage had Larry the Rat instead of Ralph.
Oh, okay.
And so I wonder if that was like supposed to be like a little nod to
I do have
that
Lynx version on my Pi too. I don't know if I've ever played it. I remember the problem with the Lynx is that it's the same thing with the Game Gear. It's like a very zoomed in version of the Master System.
I see.
So
yeah, I've never played any Lynx games.
It's just like you get a very small screen. Like your characters are pretty big, but you can't really see too far in front of you or above you or anything like that.
Gotcha. So I wonder if that was a little like nod to him.
I just called them Evil Splinter.
Evil Splinter works too.
It made me enjoy this more. So Evil Space Splinter gets loose and kills the entire crew in space, and then like they're not letting the girl doctor leave until she gets the research. She gets the research, but then dies anyway. And it crashes down to Earth in several different spots, and that's when we're introduced to our pal The Rock.
Yeah, Dwayne.
8-time WWE Champion The Rock.
9-time Slammy Award winner.
And he's a wildlife sanctuary guy who specializes in apes, and he's just a big japped up ape lover,
Yeah.
Believable.
Huge. Just fucking huge.
I don't know why you had to prepare. Like, what's my character in this movie? Oh, you're a zookeeper. All right, I'm going to be the most jacked up zookeeper you have ever seen.
I'm going to do the 7 meal a day workout for this one. There's one reference to him like being huge, and it's like from like the evil lady who runs the company. She's like, oh well, he likes to hit the gym.
Yeah,
that's like the only reference to him being ginormous.
But like, he also doesn't like date women.
He hates people.
Yeah.
They really drive his whole backstory is he does not like people.
He's seen what they can do.
Yes. Yes, he was part of a special military group that hunt down poachers. And he hates people. And I like how one of his coworkers goes, you know, it's a little weird that you like hanging out with your dogs more than people. As one who has 3 cats, I like hanging out with my 3 cats more than I like hanging out with most people. I'm with The Rock on this one.
Thanks.
I said most people.
Oh,
I didn't say all people.
Yeah, I don't have any cats or dogs. My friend used to have cats, but they're gone now.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway.
But so The Rock communicates with George through sign language.
So who's better at sign language, Kong or George?
Apparently George, because I don't know if you noticed this, there's many times where in this movie where The Rock is doing sign language to George and like George isn't even looking at him.
Yes.
And so, but he still gets it.
Yeah.
So I guess George is.
Yeah. No, that's how sign language works. You don't have to see the sign language to understand it.
Right. Good. Fortunately, The Rock just talks through everything he's signing.
Right.
So.
Right. And he understands through the language.
Yeah.
Clearly.
So, yep. I was like right at the beginning. There's like one point.
He can hear the English and understand it, but he can't speak it.
Yep. But then why does The Rock need to sign? I don't know. But
it adds a layer of intelligence to his character, even though he's a ex-military zookeeper who can communicate via sign language.
We learn right off the bat that at some point, as it'll be a recurring gag throughout this movie, that he taught George not only how to fist bump, but also how to flip people off.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, and specifically him. He doesn't,
Specifically him,
he doesn't
yes.
flip anyone else off except for The Rock.
Yeah, that was
You should have taught him how to chant "Die Rocky Die."
Die Rocky die, George. Yeah, the overall like this movie, like him doing the middle finger gag, and then like later towards like the end of the movie where like George does like the whole like, you know, finger in the circle thing. You'd be like, oh yeah, like you hooking up with this girl. I was like, this is like cornball shit. This is like,
it was completely necessary though.
I guess, yeah, all right. I don't know.
It was not necessary at all.
I was like, I'm good with like stupid humor, but like this isn't. I don't know. This movie's like all over the place as to like I feel like at some points they're actually trying to play this movie like kind of straight, and then it's like, then they like, but then like the villains are like over the top like evil, like just super duper evil,
and they're not only super evil, but they're also like the heads of a major multi-billion-dollar corporation and dumb as rocks.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, how does this like? This world is very strange. It's built on a foundation of strangeness. Like a guy like The Rock is like turning down dates with like hot girls who work at the zoo, and he's just like, I'm gonna go home and play with my dog.
Who you never meet.
You never meet the dogs.
You
never get to see that. But also the kid from The Boys is playing the same exact character.
No, I'm not familiar with The Boys. Which one's he?
He's the one who is afraid of the monkey and.
Oh, at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Okay. That's like his only appearance, right?
I forget his name on The Boys. I like that show a lot, but he was only in that for a very short period of time. Yeah.
I suspect we're going to refer to every character in this movie as like another character they do.
I'm not going to give any of them. Like it's Silk Spectre 2, The Rock, the guy from The Boys, and Negan. That's
Dr. Caldwell's the only one who's like name stuck with me.
Yeah,
because actually I don't know her from anything else. So,
exactly.
So
and you remembered her name. I was just gonna call her The Rock's the woman who woos The Rock.
Yeah.
Because when no one else could.
Well, QT Marshall's unnamed, so we can just assume he's FBI agent QT Marshall.
No, he is QT Marshall.
Yes, he's playing himself.
But George discovers the mutagen and gets big. He goes to the fortune teller and says, "I want to be big."
Yes,
but he signs it. And he goes, so he grows big and kills a bear. And he's like, "Oh, I didn't mean to." It's like Lenny and George.
Yeah. Well, there's like one part after that too, where it's like when they have like George like in the cage and like they're like going over his like blood work, and like The Rock's like, "Oh, he has like whatever this many nanograms of HGH in his system that should kill him." And I looked at that, I heard that line, and I just looked at The Rock. I was like, would it, Rock?
It would have been funnier if he was like, "Yeah, George's HGH levels are Oh wait, this is my chart.
Now we don't know.
He's a part-timer.
He's a part-timer, right? Yeah.
He can do it.
Yeah, but and it's like, you know, that I was like waiting for like when like he kept saying, he's like, George needs food, like to just bring like a wheelbarrow full of like cod and rice over to George and be like, here,
Georgie
you can eat
Huggy.
this. Yeah, Georgie Huggy. But then a wolf also finds him,
Yep.
and then you know, an alligator finds him in the Everglades, but doesn't come around till later.
Was it the Everglades and it swam all the way up to
I thought it said Everglades.
Chicago?
I did not put a lot of thought into them having to travel distance in this movie, so
It's a long way.
I mean, well, isn't
It's like 1,000 miles.
But aren't they like isn't George in California? Well, he does go on a plane for like a good chunk of the movie.
Yeah.
So I guess that explains that.
And the wolf is in Wyoming or Colorado. No. Was it Wyoming, Colorado, Utah?
I don't remember.
I don't know. I'm going to say it was Greeley, Colorado.
I thought they said the Everglades for that because I remember like going like I was like also like you're in like the river in Chicago and I was like,
Yeah.
okay. But
there's a direct line. It's like the it's like a red eye he took.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna say of the three, actually I think Ralph might have been my favorite.
Ralph is definitely the best.
Yeah, like when Ralph like jumps out of the woods and like trashes that helicopter when like that weird you know, group that like the bad guys hire to like try to contain Ralph. Like when he like messes them up and then he like attacks the helicopter and it's like, I was like, yeah, Ralph's awesome. And then he develops like stingers that he can like fire
Do you
randomly
remember how
later.
they described that group?
Oh, killers are us and they're the us.
Fucking God. I was like, ooh, I was ready to shut it off right there. I was like, that was just whoever wrote that should be ashamed.
There's a
of
lot of
themselves.
bad dialogue in this movie, like a lot. And that's like one of my things. Like when I was saying, like the first half of the movie, I feel like they play it quasi serious outside of like the over the top bad guys, and then somewhere in the middle they go like, all right, it's time for the Rock just kind of start like being the Rock and like have like funny lines and like act goofy. It's like I feel like it tonally shifts like somewhere in the middle where they're just like, oh yeah, we should be a campy movie.
Yeah.
And then it gets better. I feel like when it does that, but the first half is like just it's too dry.
Yeah, it's a very dry start to the movie. But then Ralph shows up and kills Sofia Vergara's husband, and
I think he was on True Blood. I
forget
He's a
his
werewolf
name.
from True Blood. Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to call him the werewolf from True Blood.
Okay.
How fitting he got eaten by a wolf.
But that scene I thought was really cool. The giant wolf in the woods who can fly. I thought that was a nice little addition they gave him.
Yeah, Ralph develops all sorts of superpowers.
Yeah. So he's got like the flying squirrel wings, and like he's just a big vicious wolf who killed his entire pack and
Yep.
ran off.
Yeah, he fires stingers later from his tail.
Yes, I thought he's like a porcupine.
Yeah, I was like,
animal
when he
too.
does that, I was like, that
Good
was,
point. I
I
almost
was like
forgot about
that. I was like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I was like, Ralph, you're just stealing the show left and right.
But then we get Allie, who is the one thing I will like. I say I will like about. One thing I will say I liked about this movie, there you go, Chris, third time's the charm, is all the animals are different sizes.
Yes.
Like George is smaller, Ralph is kind of the tweener, and then Allie is enormous.
Yeah, they should have rebranded Lizzy to Allie. In the toys, it's still Lizzy. It makes more sense to be Allie.
I call it Allie because it's an alligator.
It's an alligator.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I think there was a big part of this movie where they said, we're going to make some appearance designs here to the classic monsters because maybe we don't want to get sued.
Exactly.
Because maybe we're in the middle of the Monsterverse right now.
Yeah. And honestly, I like the decisions they made. I like it being an alligator. I like it being the wolf with the wings and the porcupine tail.
And George being like an albino and stuff like that made him.
Only
It makes
one
him
of his
stick.
kind. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It makes him. It gives him like more of like because I mean like I don't know. George was a King Kong ripoff in the
Yes.
Rampage game, so like this feel like it gives him like a little bit more of like an identity, like rather than being like a Donkey Kong King Kong ripoff like what he was like in the video games.
Yeah. And I don't know where they invented Ralph from. I don't know what Ralph is supposed to be a ripoff of, but I thought I was always the Ralph when I played the games.
Yeah, maybe it's just because like American Werewolf in London and stuff like that was out around then.
Maybe that's
You
a
know.
good point. But he was still giant size, though. There's never a giant
Yeah.
wolf.
Werewolves are more needed in movies.
I guess halfway through the movie, they're kidnap it. They capture George after he escapes, and we're finally introduced to Negan, and this becomes a Negan
The
origin story. I refuse to believe that his character is not Negan.
Yeah, this is definitely prior to The Walking Dead. This is just a couple years before the fall.
Still a lot of cringy dialogue, but Negan is by far the best character in the movie.
100%.
All right,
100%.
as long as we're in the same page
100%.
there.
I mean, he basically just plays. He just basically plays Negan.
Yes, he's a smooth talking cowboy from Texas who starts off. You think he's going to be like the hard ass from the government who's going to stop him at every turn, but instead he's like
He makes babyface turn.
yeah, he's kind of a tweener.
They like I like feel like they like literally hired him to play this character because they're like, yeah, we just need someone who like can like comically deliver swears in sentences. Like, you seem like you do a pretty good job of that in The Walking Dead, so why don't we? That's all he does. That's all it's asked of him.
God, Negan was like the only reason to watch that show after a while.
It sounds like the whole show revolves around him now, from what I understand. I don't watch it anymore, but yeah. Oh yeah, so yeah, I was looking at my notes. He has one of my favorite lines in the movie, which actually isn't like that funny, but it's just like when like he's like showing The Rock and Dr. Caldwell like the footage of Ralph, and he's like weirdos on the internet calling him Ralph. It's like, and then like when he's so like George like wakes up in the airplane because like the evils fire off some like radio signal in Chicago to attract all of them, and George like wakes up and basically destroys the plane, and then like The Rock saves Negan from falling out of the plane while he's unconscious, straps him to a parachute,
and then he
like,
wakes up as they're falling. He goes, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, second best line of the movie.
It's also it reminds me of the Megadeth live album Rude Awakening, where the album cover is the guy waking up in bed falling off a building.
It's a very specific reference.
It's like, oh shit. But yeah, he's by far the best character in this movie. It's not even close.
Oh yeah, because I mean, you got The Rock, the people's champ, who's just constantly reinforced that he hates people.
Yeah.
So
the people hater champ.
I mean, there's a lot of like divergence, like the video game. Like, in the video game, like they're mutated people who turn into these monsters.
Yes.
And then like not only do you diverge from the video game, you diverge by making the people's champion hate people.
Yes.
I mean, come on.
He's the corporate champion now.
Yeah. So yeah, then they get to Chicago and the big action set pieces happen.
The best part of the movie happens when the guy is trying to escape, and I think he has like the rat or something like that. And basically he runs into Negan in the lobby, and Negan's like, "Oh, just give me your computer and you could walk right out that door." He's like, "Really? All right, cool." And then like the slab of concrete just crushes him. And Negan's just like, is he an accessory to murder?
Yeah, because he like, that was
he
like
sees
his
the stuff coming down.
Yeah.
And then he just sort of like it's very Charles Manson-ish. Like, he's not like committing the act, but he's influencing the act to occur.
Well, you know what us old cowboys say.
Those
Us
assholes gonna stick together.
And also, I like how he's like, he has this like cowboy holster revolver like on like the front of his like belt with a giant belt buckle on it. I was like, who's letting you wear this? Oh wait, what then like The Rock and Dr. Caldwell got to get to Chicago because like they got to get from the military base to Chicago, and a recurring theme happens in the last chunk of this movie: convenient helicopters all over the place in this movie. Like, remember they were in the military base. Oh, we got to get to Chicago. What do we do? Oh, there's like a medevac helicopter that we can steal. Oh, sick. Great. They steal that. What happens when they're on top of the tower?
There's a helicopter there.
There's a helicopter there. Which was
have you ever
planned.
seen the Sears Tower? There's always a helicopter there. Winds are very low. They don't have to strap it down or anything. Like,
Yeah.
it'll just stay up there, no problem.
Yeah, and then when it gets like knocked loose by a giant monkey, like it'll still be there.
Yeah, it lands very daintily.
And then remember, like towards like the very end of the movie, like right before, like when George getting the shit kicked out of him by Lizzy, The Rock just like turns around and goes, Oh, there's a helicopter.
Yeah, and it still works. It's
got
crashed.
fully loaded with missiles.
It's crashed. It's in the rubble. Still works. Got machine gun and the missiles fully activated.
Just-
no problem.
Yeah, vehicles, particularly helicopters, are very convenient in this movie.
Yeah.
Whenever you just need one, there's one's going to be there.
George ingests the cure that QT Marshall couldn't find during their trial. I guess it was on a different room or something like that than what they were in. By eating Silk Spectre 2.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, first, she shoots The Rock, and so The Rock is dead now. But he comes back to life 2 minutes later.
Yeah, he got shot in the stomach. He's fine.
Not even the stomach, like the side. Like, how do you shoot someone, like, the side of their abdomen and, like, just walk, like, oh, he's cool, I did it.
Also, another thing in that scene, Dr. Caldwell goes, like, pull out the antidote, and she puts it, like, it's like in a cryogenic chamber.
No, yeah.
And she puts gloves on to lift it up, but then barehanded takes, like, the antidotes out of it. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. And then, like, why do you have a glove to handle it in one hand?
Maybe she wants to smell the glove.
I guess, yeah. Good Spinal Tap reference for here. But yeah, then The Rock gets shot, and then he's like, just kind of like, yeah, she missed all the battle. She missed all the battle organs.
He's fine. He gets up there. He's a little delayed getting to the roof, and that's it.
But you know what? This is where the
he
movie
survives the helicopter crash, and then afterwards, he's like with the gun fighting against the monsters, and he's fine. He's been shot, but he is fine.
But you know what? This is like now where the movie's like laying into it being stupid. Yeah. It's like it forgot, like in the first half of the movie, that it's a stupid movie, and then it remembered it's a stupid movie at this point. And I was a little bit more on board with it. I said, you know what? Yeah, why don't you just get shot and you just hand wave it away by saying, she missed all the vital organs.
Yeah.
I was like, sold me. And then I appreciate every now and then with a lull in the action, he put his hand over his side where he presumably got shot, just to, because Rock sells.
Yeah.
That's what The Rock does. The Rock knows how to sell.
But he's good at selling, especially a stunner.
But I thought talking about like the monster stuff though in Chicago. Actually, I thought all that was like pretty awesome.
Oh no, the last fight scene in this movie is like the only thing anyone ever needs to watch.
Yes, agreed. Yes.
Like once they get to Chicago and they're like Ralph and George arrive together because they're like summoned by the Ghidorah roar. I mean the thing on top of the Sears Tower, and so they're like climbing it, and that's when Allie gets there, and they're kind of the three of them are together trying to get to the noise thing. And so George eats Silk Spectre 2, and she has the cure, so he's cured now, so he's not raging anymore. So he has to... It's now George against the other two, because they take out the Sears Tower like together. It crumbles to pieces.
That actually looked... That part, like, that scene looked awesome.
No, I like I said, this is the only part of the movie anyone ever needs to watch.
Yeah. Also, special shout out for George destroying a Dave & Buster's, because do we really need Dave & Buster's?
I mean, like, I haven't been to one since 2002, but from what I recall, I had a pretty good time there.
Okay, well,
I just miss good times,
Yeah. Well,
in the gray bar.
Well, George messed up a Dave & Buster's, and I laughed.
Oh yeah,
I chuckled.
Here's the thing that I don't like about this movie: there's not enough rampage in it. You'd think that they were going from like different parts of the country towards Chicago. They might throw in like
something else along the way.
A city that they might get destroyed along the way.
That's true. They took apparently the longest dirt path in America from wherever they're from to Chicago. Right to downtown Chicago.
But like that's the only city that kind of gets destroyed is Chicago. Like you couldn't give me like Ralph going through like Des Moines.
Yeah, you would think they hit something along the way. And like was Lizzy like really in the water for that entire trek?
Yeah, like Lizzy can't destroy St. Louis.
Yeah, like they can't, Also, I'm kind of like, how do they like not know like Lizzy didn't exist until like she pops out of the like the Chicago River.
Because it's infrared and she's an amphibian.
No, but I'm saying like she must have got out of the water at some point and did something along the way.
Nope.
You would think.
It was it's an enormous river that runs all the way up from the Florida Everglades to Chicago.
Would she just eat like plankton along the way? Like,
So for this to work, Allie would have to get out of the water, go to the Mississippi River, and swim up the Mississippi. Because I don't know if you knew this, but alligators are not saltwater animals.
Yep.
So for that to work, there would have to be a considerable amount of time where this alligator was on land and visible.
I swear it was the Florida Everglades. I could be way off in that, but
I'm assuming you're right.
I'm gonna check while we talk here.
Okay.
But yeah.
So I'm just like, that's my biggest problem, is that the fact that there wasn't enough of, like, if they destroyed a few cities along the way, it would feel much more of like a faithful adaptation.
Confirmed. Florida Everglades.
Yeah. I mean, there are alligators there, so that's why I'm like, I don't distrust. I'm just saying, like, geographically speaking,
it doesn't make any sense.
It makes zero sense.
I was like, I swear that's what it said on the screen, but as we're talking, yeah, it's like, but yeah, how would that make sense? Well, whatever.
It's through Republican states. They probably just denied it exists.
Yeah, they just said it was. I don't know. I can't even think of something witty, but yeah, you're right.
Suck it, Alabama and Mississippi. Anyway, so they get George is cured, and now it's down to George and The Rock versus Ralph and Lizzy. And I thought this fight was pretty cool.
Yeah, I would borderline call it a triple threat. Because like, Ralph and Lizzy don't really team up.
Yeah,
Lizzy does decapitate Ralph.
The noise is gone, so they aren't really a team. But I think Lizzy ate Ralph's head more because of, like, that's just what alligators do. So they weren't really on the same team, but they kind of were.
Now, I thought it was because the heels had a miscommunication.
Yeah.
You know,
Ref was out of position.
One was supposed to be holding George. George moves.
The Rock said, George, no!
Yeah. There's a lot of that. Ralph plows into Liz. And then Lizzy goes, and then the alliance is done.
Yeah.
The heels can't coexist.
The honeymoon is over.
Yeah, and just rips his head off and eats it. I was like, oh, R.I.P. Ralph. You were like the star of this movie.
Yeah, it was just a cool monster design. Cool powers.
He flies.
He flies
for no reason.
The Rock is like, oh, of course the wolf
I
flies.
took that as I was like, that's a little tribute to Varan. That's what that is. That's how I took
that. And then so then it's down to George and Lizzy, and The Rock gets his helicopter MacGuffin and shoots up Lizzy. Lizzy comes after The Rock. George eventually gets a pipe and stabs Lizzy through the eye.
Right in the eye.
So that was all you needed to do. Was just take it, like, partially blind Lizzy. Done.
There was like one part of that fight too where, now granted, like, Lizzy is an alligator in this movie, but like it like was like, oh, like there's like one part where like she grabs like George like kind of like by the foot, ankle, whatever, and I was like, oh, we're gonna see this again in Godzilla versus Kong now, aren't we?
Actually, Godzilla does do the alligator crawl.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I was like, ooh, we're gonna see this again,
which I think was pretty fun. And
then actually, like, you know, like George coming down with the steel beam or whatever was like very similar to like Kong coming down with the axe.
Yes, I didn't even think of that, but yeah, you're right.
Like, you know, I mean, it makes like, it's like a logical thing for like, you know, like the George and Kong to do, but it's like the way like George was animated felt very, very similar to Kong coming down. I was like, oh, well, look at that.
The Kong one was better though.
1000%.
Just because, I mean, he had the axe and it was powered up by Godzilla's ray, and he just bashes him in the face and they both go flying.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
Yeah, maybe Kong needed The Rock. What if like there's like someone makes like a fan edit of Godzilla versus Kong where they replace Gia with The Rock? Because like you can still, and like and The Rock is just siding with Kong through the whole movie.
They edit in the fist to give The Rock the finger.
Yeah, there has to be like a Rock edit of Godzilla versus Kong. But like literally, like nothing else has changed. It's just like literally like The Rock is just like superimposed over Gia.
Yeah, Kong, no.
But it's all just done with clips from this movie.
Yes,
I feel like it could be done, and then like you got to do like some like weird effects to make The Rock do like the. Well, I was just doing the
coward.
The coward thing. Right? Great talking with my hands for an audio podcast. But
yeah. So George kills Lizzy Alley, and now they just need to find George a place to live.
Lizzy Alley. That just made me laugh.
Yeah. That's what I call her. Lizzy Alley.
Yeah. It doesn't matter that George in this world participated in the destruction of downtown Chicago. That probably led to the death. Now, granted, he wasn't in his own mind. He was under control, but still, just we'll just go let you live somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can't really kill him.
Yeah.
You got to study him.
Yeah.
I mean, where do you really put him, though?
But it's nobody had any consequences for anything they did in this movie. The Rock stole a military helicopter.
Rock stole a military helicopter, and, he didn't really steal it. Negan gave him the keys.
Negan helped some people steal a military helicopter.
He's not going to face any consequences for that.
Yeah. I mean, Negan killed a dude, basically, indirectly.
He's not going to jail for that.
This movie, nobody has any real consequences in this. And also, they make a big deal going we need to get that evil brother and sister because we need to show they're not above the law. That Negan just lets one get crushed by the debris, and and then the master plan is to let George eat the other one. I was like, nobody's being held accountable for anything that happened in this movie.
Listen, actions do not have consequences in this universe.
They don't.
Yeah.
They
Where
don't.
Rampage exists, so we already know Ralph exists, and then weirdos on the internet are calling him Ralph, despite the fact that he already exists.
Still the best.
And that's about it. The Rock and George have another sign language dirty talking thing.
Yeah, dirty talking thing.
And that's when the movie ends, thankfully. What a weird movie. It's just
yeah.
Just watch the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's kind of my overall thoughts is that I thought the last chunk of the movie was actually really entertaining.
Yeah.
And I thought the first part was okay too. But it's it's like I said earlier, it's so serious in the beginning for what it is. Outside of the over the top villains, but everybody else is so serious in the beginning. And then halfway through there's oh yeah, no shit, this is a campy movie. And then they lay into it and it gets good.
They should have just been campy for the first probably 3/4 of the movie, and then the last movie they get super serious with the destruction stuff. That probably would have been a little bit better. And then they can end with the same thing where George is doing the in and out thing and flipping them off and stuff. You could still end it the same way, but I think if they leaned into the seriousness of the city being destroyed more, I guess they call it the third city now.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
But I was more thinking The Rock is just The Rock is whatever as an actor. I think he's fine.
Yeah.
But it's you put The Rock in the movie to have The Rock's charisma show through. And that in the first showing of the movie, his charisma doesn't show through. He's just kind of he's just being dour, and he's just it makes sense that he's concerned about his friend, but it's he's just being dour the entire
You could have
movie.
literally replaced The Rock with any actor.
Yeah. But then towards the end, when he starts kind of getting more comical and stuff like that, when it's once they get in the helicopter, right before they get in the helicopter, he knocks out the soldiers and stuff like that.
He's I'm going to knock you out and you're going to piss yourself.
Yeah, it was very True Lies-esque, but it was once that little switch happens, he becomes much more entertaining.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole movie, and I was why couldn't we get more of this through the movie? Why else is The Rock here if he's not here to do stuff like this?
But yeah, that's it. That's Rampage.
That was Rampage.
Let's rank it.
So I'll go first because actually even though I just had a lot of complaints about it, I did actually find this kind of dumb and entertaining, and I'm gonna surprise even myself, and I'm gonna give it 3 stars.
Okay.
I thought I was gonna come in borderline 1 or 2 from my first impressions of watching it years and years ago, where I barely paid attention, but watching it today, I was this is dumb and stupid, but when it gets fun, I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I was I'm gonna give it 3. A low 3, but a 3.
This is a bad movie with bad dialogue, but I still like it.
Yeah.
I like The Rock. I like Negan. I like Silk Spectre. This reminds me a lot of Godzilla 98 in the sense that it is a very watchable movie. You could sit down and watch the whole thing, no problem. And it's not a bad, slow slog to get through. But where it's better than Godzilla 98 is that there's no, nothing super offensive.
Right.
There's no dated language. There's no, mean-spirited, like
Right. Like
stuff going on.
Yeah.
And it still has some good action parts. So I'm going to join you in our 3 club
No,
for
consensus.
this one. Yeah.
All right.
It's not high art, but it's also not like people will probably see Rampage starring The Rock. Oh, it's a terrible movie. Blah, blah, blah. It's really not. It's pretty inoffensive. And
I want to guess it's probably better than the Fast and Furious movies that he's in.
I've never seen any of them, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like not even the first movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No.
I've seen like clips of them and like the endings of the movies when like they're on before wrestling. But I've never watched a Fast and Furious movie beginning to end.
No, I remember the first one was. I haven't seen the first one forever, but I remember like when it first came out, going like, "Oh, this is like stupid entertaining," and then apparently, some people watch that movie unironically.
Yeah,
treat it like a way of life, but
family.
Family.
So yeah, I still say the best Rock movie is The Rundown. When he walks past Arnold at the club, he's like, "Have fun."
I have not seen a lot of Rock movies, so I can't tell you. I guess it might be this one by default because the only one that I could think of that I've seen is Doom.
Also a video game movie.
Also a video game movie.
Which is basically just Alien, but with The Rock.
Yeah. And,
Semper Fi, motherfucker.
Always
Always
loyal.
faithful to the core.
And also another dude from The Boys is in that movie. Right? Isn't that dude who's like the...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's Reaper in The Boys, isn't he?
Yes.
That's like the only thing I know about The Boys.
Carl Urban.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You expect Rock to be Doom Guy, but it's Carl Urban who's Doom Guy.
Yeah. Yeah, that movie was quite the twist.
And that is a bad movie, but it's basically just like a alien worship movie. But also the best Doom movie. There's more than one.
Is there?
There's a second Doom movie, and it was direct to Netflix.
Oh,
God
boy.
awful.
I recently rewatched Doom like in
Me
the past year, and I was like, oh boy.
Yeah, that's not great, but still the better Doom movie.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't terrible.
So
Doom 2 stars. There's your mini review.
Yeah, 2 stars for Doom. Anyway. You got any figs?
I sure did. Did you?
I did.
I'm seeing that you've kind of missed out in this segment for a while. You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. Got me a lovely Playmate 2004 Final Wars Godzilla. I like this figure. It's good.
I agree.
It's obviously not the SH Monster Arts figure that's coming.
No, obviously not.
That looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like pretty much perfect. But this figure's $13, and for $13, it is very much worth it.
The door split's like really spread out on it, which is
Yes.
like only kind of like one of the things I don't really like about it. I know like when that first like kind of came out, people kind of gave the face a hard time, but I don't know. I think
It's pretty accurate.
Yeah, it's like a little goofy looking, but like
His eyes are looking up,
yeah.
like so it looks a little cross-eyed, like from the side.
But I think it's a fine figure. think it's
And you're
cool.
right about the dorsal fins, but at the same time, it's also a $13 figure,
Yeah,
so you can't really complain about it too much.
if like I like put myself in the mind of like if you were a kid, right, and you want a Godzilla figure, and all you have is the Playmate stuff available to you, besides the Godzilla vs. Kong stuff, let's say, like so you get that Shin Godzilla that even as like a little kid, I feel like I would go, what is going on with this Barracuda head? And then I'd be like,
His salamander head.
yeah, salamander. Yeah, I always say Barracuda, salamander head. But
Barracudas have sharp teeth, but their heads are a little bit more narrow. It's like
Gotcha.
a fish.
Yeah.
Salamanders are like a small person, a small amphibious person.
but then it's like, then you get Burning Godzilla, right? And if you're a kid and you don't know the Godzilla movies, and you're like, oh, well, this Godzilla looks cool. He's got a fiery bikini on.
Yeah.
But then you read the back of the box and it basically says, oh yeah, this is Godzilla right before he dies. That probably bum me out as a kid. But then you get this one.
It's still a good movie though. So And it looks great too. Despite like the bikini thing, you think we're ripping on it, but we're really not. It just happens to look a little bit like a bikini.
But I'm just saying, if I was a little kid, like, and I'm playing with the figures, I've been playing with the figure of Godzilla that I know it's like him dying. I probably want something like a little bit more, not dying. And then you get this figure, and I go like, yeah, this would be sweet.
Yeah, this figure, he just runs through everything. He's like the Rock in 2000.
Yeah, and I feel like it's like, a little. It's not like super screen accurate, but it's like this looks like a Godzilla action figure. This looks like something that's going to come around and like slap your other figures around in your house while you're playing with them.
And it's not super screen accurate. It's accurate enough.
Yeah.
Like I'm not expecting it to be like statuesque for the amount of money you're paying for it.
This is the bridge to Playmates getting a lot better.
Yeah.
Was like this figure, I feel like.
Yeah. And like overall, like this is meant to be played with. It's not meant to be displayed as like a collector's piece, like how I'm going to deal with it.
We are not the target demo for this.
Yeah, so this figure wasn't made for me, and I get that. So overall,
was it made for the OIWF?
Maybe, we'll see. But overall, I would say this is definitely pick this up if you see it and you don't have it.
There you go. And it's starting to appear in shelves again.
Yes.
Yeah. Hence why, you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All good. Did you get anything else?
I got something else, but I'm saving it because just in case I don't have anything for next. Coming up. Yeah.
I got 3 things. First, I had 2, but literally in the mailbox on the way over here. The third one was in the mail. So I'll start with that, which was the Game Boy Color Godzilla the Series game, the first one. Haven't tried playing it yet.
Okay.
And honestly, when I watched like playthroughs of it, it doesn't look like a very good game. But it was on Macari for like $4, $5, and I was
Can't go wrong.
And I was like, well, I should have it. It's a Godzilla video game. I should buy it. Also, speaking of good deals, I was able. I think well, actually, pause on that because I'm going to say that was my main event purchase. So I was telling you off mic that yesterday I took a little visit to a local casino in the middle of the day by myself because I'm on vacation. Don't judge me. And I like casinos. And so, went, made a little bit of money. And I said, that means I should go out and buy stuff. Didn't really succeed in really buying anything. Well, of note, but stopped by our local mall. They have the Super 7 Shogun Godzilla in the Newbury Comics in our local mall. Like, not like the special packaging that it was, like when you got online, but like more like a regular blister pack. They get like tons of them.
Yeah.
And I just said, you know what? I said I wasn't going to buy this, but it looked really cool in the packaging.
What was it, like $17?
Yeah, $18. Yeah. And I was like, I'll buy it. And so I bought it, but I'm going to keep it in the packaging because like I feel like it would lose something. Taken out of the packaging, it looks good in the packaging.
The packaging for those is awesome.
So that's not the one I got.
The Super 7 figures, just in general, I think their packaging is great. I wouldn't take anything out of those.
So
packages.
it's like the regular blister card packaging, not like the boxed one that they had originally online.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It was like it looks cool on a shelf. And this isn't Godzilla related, but those like bag clips that I'm all about. I bought a whole bunch of Mandalorian season 2 bag clips.
All right.
Yeah. That was really exciting. But just thought I would share that with you that the bag clip collection has crossed properties now. But no, my main event purchase was something I've been trying to track down for a while. It's a Godzilla Bendy figure that was released in the 70s.
Yes. By
GLJ Toys. And I'm like trying, like in the 70s there was like this like weird rash of like random Godzilla toys that were like only released in America. And I have most of them. Not all of them, but most of them. There's like some puzzles and shit that I'm missing, and there was like a whole toy line called Godzilla's Gang, which is like all Ultraman figures and Godzilla. I have Godzilla. I don't have the Ultraman figures, but I would like to get those someday. But this Bendy was like one of the ones that was missing, and whenever you find it online, it usually is like all the paint is like scuffed off, and it's like a really hard wire that's like inside for the Bendy stuff, and like. In mine has like a little tiny tear, but like a lot of them, like you actually see like the wire coming through. Yeah. This one you can't see it, like, and it's pretty good condition as far as I've ever found it, and I found it for like a really, really again another Macari purchase. Found it like really cheap on Macari. Cool. And I was able to snag it, and actually I got it, and it was like it's actually pretty good looking, goofy looking little green Bendy Godzilla figure.
Yeah, he's got a nice triangle head.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like it looks better in person than it does in photographs. Because I always thought like it always reminded me like the Son of Godzilla suit. Like, and then when I got it in person, I was like, this isn't so bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it joins the weird U.S. 70s Godzilla merchandise that's just filled with weird stuff. There's like Viewmasters from the 70s that I would like to get. You remember Viewmasters? Like put them in like the little thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like original Godzilla stories on Viewmaster that were released in America in the 70s.
Yeah, those would be cool. Like those 3D things. That
Yeah. And they are all kind of like in the art style, either of like, well, I think the Viewmasters, it all uses art from the Marvel Godzilla comics in the 70s. So like, yeah, really like weird stuff. It just like takes them and like forces them into like other original pictures that some other artist drew. Really like weird stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah. The 70s are just like a weird, I don't know, like late 70s Godzilla in the US is like you got the Hanna-Barbera cartoon, the Marvel comics, and then these like weird merchandise that only came out in America. And so I'm trying to kind of plug that up.
And bendies are kind of like coming back in style now too. You see them
on the wrestling side.
Yeah. But it's interesting to see that they started with other figures too, because wrestling figures are done the same exact way. It's like the rubbery material on the outside and the hard wires on the inside.
Right. The ones I remember the most for bendies, like when I was a little kid, was like the superhero ones. Like Captain America, Hulk, Spider-Man and stuff. And I think that was just like a big thing.
I think the reason they're popular because they're smaller than your normal figures, so you can, they're more collectible, take up less room.
Usually cheaper.
Yeah.
Until now, like the major wrestling podcast is going to kill that on the wrestling side. They're not going to be cheap anymore.
I'm fine with that. They can have them.
I like them. I got to get I want to get on the wrestling side. I want to get the I like to have like those, like at least the wrestlers that I want.
Yeah. The new ones look good.
Yeah. So, but I think I got all the WWF bendies that I want, except like I want like a Doink the Clown. Other than that, I think I got all the ones that I want.
I got the original LJN ones, and I have a Blue Knee Pads Hogan. That's my favorite bendy.
Oh yeah, those are cool. I don't know, bendies are like they're cool. They're cool figures. I'm starting to develop like more an appreciation for like bendies. I like never cared about them before this year, and now I'm starting to get like a little bit of like appreciation for bendy figures in general.
No, they're fine. They're just not for me.
Yeah,
is the main thing, because I would just prefer the larger figures, better detail and all that jazz.
Yeah, Mr. Wonderful. Your Mr. Wonderful bendy looks like he's been doing the Rock's diet.
Yeah, he eats a lot of cod.
Yeah, a lot of cod.
They call him Mr. Wonderful.
I wish going back to like Rampage really quick. I wish they kept like the bad guy corporation from the video games in this, because it's just called Scum Labs. I wish they kept that.
They could have made the guy who's the brother will have like a mohawk.
Yeah,
he could be more of like the scum side of it, and she could be more of the brain side of it. But whatever.
Yeah, well, that was all my purchases.
All right, well, anyways. Dirty Little Secrets, the OIWF portion of the podcast.
Boy, you take 1 week off and then we come roaring right back.
Major developments. New tag team champions.
Yeah, I think that's the secondary story to this week. So you want to start there? And so, I mean, so for background, as everyone recalls, during Angurus's title defense against TMV, Trimasters Brand, TMV as I like to call him. Trimaster of the Universe interfered like the dastardly figures that they are. Bandai Titanosaurus, the former champion, tried to fight them off, led to a miscommunication between the two fan favorites. Perhaps maybe that led to Anguirus taking advantage of the situation, pinning TMV. The two fan favorites came to blows afterwards, and the OIWF booking committee said, listen, you guys got to settle it in the ring. But they didn't get too far because the tag team champions, Geig and Bailanti, came in, formed a beatdown, and they really wanted to get these two longtime thorns in their side removed.
But they signed their own death warrant.
They did. And what happened? They took perhaps they took the two fan favorites a little lightly, and they lost their titles, the longest reigning champions in all of OIWF, really having those belts since we started the OIWF.
Right.
And defended it countless times. Took
Not really.
They would have stretches. They took the challengers lightly, and they finally lost the titles. The Trendmasters of the Universe no longer control, well, on my side of the island, I guess, all the belts, except for one. But they now they have the biggest prize in this side of the island, the OIWF World Championship. So, but still, we have new tag team champions. Long may they reign.
Long may they reign.
For another year.
On my side of the island, just a cataclysmic event has occurred. We had Burning Godzilla face off against GMK. Looked like he was going to get the win. And then what happens? Of course, we got the Cursed Order coming in, mucking it all up. And so Commissioner Slick has had enough of this debaggery and said, we're doing a 4-way elimination match to finally decide who is going to be the intercontinental champion going forward. So today is Thursday, and this is the day we recorded on Thursdays, and the match happened today earlier, and by God, it was an immediate gang up on Hong Kong Lights Godzilla to get him out of there because he was basically the reason they screwed this whole thing up. And then their attention turned to Gigan, but the conscience of the OIWF has returned. NECA Shin Godzilla, our first world champion, has showed up, and he blasted Gigan right in the eye with his ray, blinding him seemingly, just like AJ Styles.
Or Pac.
But Pac is only half blind. And so Gigan was eliminated. So it came down to the two who had the match the previous week. And Burning Godzilla lifted one finger, poked GMK in the chest. Down he goes. 1, 2, 3. They all stand back up. And we've been duped. We have been duped. And now...
Terrible night.
Yeah. It was
terrible night for a dupe.
Worst night in the history of our great sport.
Terrible night for a dupe.
Shin Godzilla, GMK, and Burning Godzilla standing in the ring. Shin Godzilla, we've heard the rumors of a new title coming through for the past couple months. Finally, he reveals it and says, "This is the real World's Championship." And then he takes a can of spray paint and sprays NWO on it. NECA World Order.
Boy, it almost seems like there's 2 world titles now, 2 secondary titles on both sides of the island here. It almost seems like there's a little bit of a split in the island.
I mean, maybe we're 2 different brands. Maybe you're Turmoil and I'm whatever the other one is.
You could be I'll have to think about this. I was trying to think of like some Godzilla references, like really quick. Then I was just thinking of 2 different islands, which doesn't really work because we're all just one island.
You're Infant Island, and I'm.
You're the Soggle side, and the other's the Infant side. Soggle Island's Son of Godzilla.
I was gonna say, which one was the Ebro one?
Does that have a name? It's just the Island of the Red Bamboo.
Okay, I'm the Island of the Red Bamboo, and you're Infant Island.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's fair that neither of us get to be or Odo Island or things like that.
Yeah.
So if you have to pick two
it's
different
a chain.
islands,
Odo Island is a chain in this. I'll be Saga Island because that's the son of Godzilla Island,
Okay,
and you can be the Red Bamboo Island.
sounds good. So yeah, we have the NECA World Order, the Cursed Order Legendary, and the Cursed Order Showa, or Cursed Order Toho, I should say. All his big factions on my side of the island now, controlling seemingly legitimate titles. Both legitimate and illegitimate, I guess you could say.
The OIWF Championship Committee recognizes them.
Okay. I guess they've made a statement that the Intercontinental title is the NECA title now. For them, anyway.
Yeah. Well,
so they plan to keep it on the NECA side of things going forward.
Any matchups for going into Christmas? Any matchups to share on your side?
Oh, we'll definitely have some matchups going forward. I have got my ring cleared out and easily accessible, so some random days I'm just gonna put stuff up on the internet.
I think on the Saga Island side, I think the committee was looking at it. It's been a long year of Trendmasters of the Universe rule. I think it's only fitting that all the core members of the Trendmasters of the Universe should be in action. It's going to be a 6-man tag.
Oh my!
It's going to be OIWF World Champion Angerus, former OIWF Tag Team Champions Gaigan and Biolante, taking on the new Tag Team Champions Bandai Titanosaurus and TMV, as well as the Mid-Atlantic Champion Carl's Jr., Godzilla Jr. The little 6-man tag action amongst all the champions.
All right.
At least that.
Maybe
something else.
I'm gonna do probably like one-on-one stuff. It's easier.
Well, we're just trying to give the figures a little bit of light work going into the holidays.
I understand.
Yeah.
And so, that'll do it for our kayfabe segment. But I guess going forward into Kong Christmas, we have something new on the horizon for us. I guess we're going to be doing King Kong. We're going to watch that. Yeah,
it's shocking that we do a King Kong movie around Christmas.
Yep. So we're going to watch not Peter Jackson and not the 30s one. I forget what year it came out.
1933.
Thank you. We are watching the 70s one.
Yeah.
With
starring the dude
and what's her face from American Horror Story.
Nihilist. I'm saying Big Lebowski things now.
We believe in nothing, Lebowski. I always forget her name.
I have not seen this movie in legitimately probably 15 years, and I only remember that Jeff Bridges is in the movie.
It's not Linda Hamilton. It's who is I forget her name, but I know the actress.
I'm looking forward to watch. Legitimately, I'm looking forward to watching this because I have not seen this in forever.
I remember watching this when I was a small child and being terrified of Kong.
Yeah, isn't this what the Universal Studios ride is based on?
Yes, the Confrontation.
Yeah, which I've been on, which is pretty cool.
Me too. I have a photo of me and my siblings doing the Confrontation thing.
I saw the Confrontation in a movie just 2 nights ago because I watched The Wizard.
California.
Yeah. Boy, that's a movie that maybe through a 2021 prism is a little bit on the dated side. But that's neither.
Everyone always quotes like Lucas, the kid with the power glove.
It's so bad.
Pedophile.
In real life?
Yeah.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, look him up.
Huh.
Or maybe not a pedophile, but definitely a sex offender.
Oh, well, yeah, something terrible either way.
I forget exactly what it was, but yeah, he's
Did he stay in movies?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
He's
not okay, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah, weird, gross guy.
Oh, God.
Yep.
Well, that puts an even worse spin on that movie. Yeah, a lot of ways they talk about certain people. And that movie does not hold up in 2021.
No, yeah, it came out in the 80s.
Yep. Or 89 or 1990. I mean, it's the ad. It's basically an ad for Super Mario Bros. 3.
Yes.
Which is even more.
And Ninja Gaiden.
Was that already out? Probably.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. But that's just how the guy says it.
Yeah. But yeah, So yeah, it was like, wow, how about that?
How about it?
Yeah, how about it?
I sent tickets to Bill Buckner, but he couldn't bend over to pick him up.
If anybody's still listening got that reference, you can tweet us.
The Rock wrestled the pay-per-view. Yeah, that'll do it. Kong Christmas and the next episode in 2 weeks. Hope you enjoyed this one. Slickster, you got anything you'd like to tell the listeners before we go?
George,
no.
It's a Wonderful Life, George.
Oh, George, no.
George Bailey, no.
Oh, God, Mary, no.
Mr. Potter, no.
Pottersville is no good place.
My figures are in your house, and Chris's house, and Frank's house.
Bye early and often.